Dreams. We're all born with them. Dreams of adventure, of finding a sense of purpose, meaning, of reaching our full potential. And wherever your dreams take you, your journey starts with UAC.
I'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which we meet today and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging.
Hello, welcome to Let's Chat. Today we're going to be talking about business, commerce and economics with our professionals from each university on our panel. Today on our panel we have Hannah Carr, future students from UNSW, Dr. Shauna Phillips from the School of Economics at Sydney University, Associate Professor Rachel Haynes-Wiesen, Director, Work Integrated Learning from the University of Sydney Business School. We also have Chris Mumford, Student Recruitment at Torrens University, Gabrielle Brown, Student Engagement Officer from Griffith University, and Cara Ragoni, Student and Marketing Coordinator from the University of Wollongong. I want to say thank you very much for sitting on our panel today, coming to talk to students in regards to a degree in business economics or commerce, because as you know, we can do a business degree, but what's involved? So let's have a chat. I'm just going to go around the panel to start with, just to for you to give me a couple of minutes on where you're located and give us a little bit of information about your university and your degree in business or any of those business-related degrees. I'll start with Gabby from University of Griffith, or Griffith University, I should say.
Yes, hi, thank you. So Griffith University, we are located in southeast Queensland. So we actually have 6 campuses. Our business degree is located on 2 of our campuses, both the Gold Coast campus and the Nathan campus in Brisbane, both with really great offerings. So our Bachelor of Business is an all-encompassing business degree. And within that, we have over 20 different majors available. So that spans from your finance, economics, accounting, to your things like your marketing, HR, etc. So yeah, it's a fantastic degree. And yeah, great to be flying the flag for Queensland.
Okay, thanks for that. We might go to Kiara now from the University of Wollongong.
Thanks, Trudy. Hi, everyone. I'm Kiara. Wollongong, also like Griffith, has quite a lot of campuses. I'm here at our largest campus in Wollongong, but we also have campuses in southwestern Sydney, in Liverpool, and we have a lot of regional campuses as well. So Bega, Batemans Bay, Shoalhaven, and the Southern Highlands, just to name a few. And you can study our business programs at varying degrees at our different campuses, but most of them are on offer here at Wollongong and our southwestern Sydney campus located in Liverpool. Like Griffith, we also offer a Bachelor of Business degree, which allows you to specialise in a particular area of business, and there are quite a few different ones to choose from. More traditional areas like marketing, finance and accounting, to newer study areas like business analytics. And you can also do specialised degrees, so Bachelor of Economics and Finance, which I'll tell you a little bit about later. And we also offer a Bachelor of Business Administration, which is a generalist business degree. Thanks, Trudy.
Thank you for that. Hannah, UNSW.
Hi everybody, my name is Hannah. I'm from UNSW Business School, and I'm actually coming to you today from our campus. So we have a campus in Sydney, in Kensington, that we hope everyone can come and visit shortly. At the UNSW Business School, we have a wide range of undergraduate degrees. Our most popular, and probably the one that you guys know the most, is our Bachelor of Commerce. Similar to Wollongong, Griffith, Sydney, I guess most universities in New South Wales and in Australia, our Bachelor of Commerce really is that base business degree and gives you that core business knowledge, as well as the option to specialise in a different major. We have a wide range of majors, things like finance, accounting, marketing, but also a business analytics, financial technology, and our range of majors is always growing and adapting based on what the industry needs and requires of us. We also have specialist degrees, so degrees in actuarial studies, information systems, and economics, and a really wide range of double degree options too, which of course are very popular with our students.
Thank you for that. Chris from Torrens.
Thanks, Trudy. Hi, everyone. My name is Chris Mumford. I'm the Director of Student Recruitment at Torrens. We are the newest university in Australia with 21,000 students now since our inception in 2015. We teach the business courses that we offer through our campus in the Rocks in Sydney, and we'll be shortly moving to a purpose-built super campus in Surrey Hills, which is quite exciting. We also have business capability in Adelaide, Melbourne, Perth, and Sydney, obviously. So we have a common Bachelor of Business, which then offers students the opportunity to choose one of 6 electives based on their chosen career path, essentially commerce being one of them, alongside event management, information systems, sports management, marketing, and entrepreneurship. Let's not leave that one out. So that's basically responsible for around 4,000 of those 21,000 students in our business program.
Wow. Okay. Fantastic. And I'm going to go to you, Rachel. And I mean, a lot of people know where Sydney is, but let's talk about it.
Sure. Thanks. Thanks a lot, Trudy. Hi, everyone. I'm Rachel Haynes-Wesson. I'm the Director of the Work Integrated Learning Hub here at the University of Sydney Business School. I'm also an Associate Professor in Work Integrated Learning at the Business School, which really means I do research in the area of improving students' ability in terms of their employability. I am zooming in from the Gadigal land in Darlington, Camberdown, Sydney campus. And I'd also like to pay my respects to the traditional owners of the land we're zooming in from. It's a great honour to be able to show my respects to the First Peoples of Australia while being part of this webinar. We are the first university in Australia, which is pretty nice, and this campus is one of our biggest. We have state-of-the-art teaching and learning facilities and technology alongside a beautiful sandstone buildings with the main quadrangle, sometimes actually being called the Harry Potter. So I'm sure there's a few features on many Instagram pics of students being out the front of this quadrangle. So yeah, I'm really excited to be a part of the webinar. So thanks so much for the invite.
Our pleasure. It's really good to have you all here. I'm going to cross to Shauna now, or Shauna, sorry. Can you just describe to me or tell our audience what's the difference between all these different business degrees? You know, if I do the business degree, what does that actually mean? Or if I take on an straight economics degree or commerce degree, what does that mean? And what does it look like?
Oh, okay. Hi, everyone. Yes, that's a frequently asked question. In commerce, the students learn to understand how businesses operate and the sort of factors that influence their decisions. So if you're doing the Bachelor of Commerce, then you can choose up to 2 majors, and you must choose a major from amongst accounting, banking, business analytics, business law, information systems, finance, international business, management, or marketing. So it's a very, very broad range of majors there. And in economics, there's a slightly wider scope where students study the behaviour of businesses and industries, governments and countries also, and the globe as a whole. So for economics, we also have a pool of majors. So students finish a program in economics and they choose a major from amongst economics, econometrics, financial economics, or environmental and ag and resource economics. And for either of these degrees, students choose a second major or minor, and they can either be from business and or the economic subject areas, or from the shared pool of majors across the university. So you can do, there's quite a diverse range of second majors that students can pursue. But in your studies at Sydney Uni, your students master their skills in their analytical and critical thinking. So that's how to provide a logical answer to a real life question. And also their skills in data analysis. So how do you test that logical answer using real world data? and they come to develop an understanding of the world. So you understand people, businesses, marketing and governments, and that gives you an ability to sort of better respond to threats and opportunities when you're out in the workplace that are emerging as things change.
That's great information, because, yeah, as you said, it is one of those questions that we all get. So it's a really good response. Hannah from UNSW, can you tell us about the different career opportunities where you'd use a business degree or economics or so on?
Yeah, of course. And another question that we always get, and one of my favorites to answer actually, I mean, I graduated from commerce and have followed quite a traditional commerce stream and have gone down the marketing route. But these days we actually see our commerce students go in such a wide variety of different career paths. So it can be something traditional like, you know, going and majoring in finance and then going on to work in banking or as a financial analyst. A lot of our students go on to work in consulting for professional services firms, but there's also quite a lot of students that are taking their business or commerce or economics knowledge and understanding and applying it to other industries in other areas. So we like to say the world is kind of your oyster when you're a business school student, because there are just so many different areas. And of course, there's the huge world of startups now too. And we do find that quite a lot of our students, particularly at UNSW, do go on to use their commerce or economics know-how to really create a product and pitch that to the world and start quite successful startup businesses.
And I would expect that in a business degree at most universities these days, there's the opportunity to do international exchange. Do you find, Hannah, that students take up those programs and it helps them once they go into a career, or how does that work? Or
yeah, of course. And our students are absolutely so excited to go on exchange as soon as they can. But we do find that a lot of our students at UNSW and at the business school do go on exchange. And we also have opportunities for students to get shorter international experiences that are related to their business studies. One of the things that we have is a global business practicum. So that's where students would go on about 6 to 8 week trip overseas to one of our partner institutions or partner industry partners, and they would actually go into industry in that city that they've gone to. So it could be somewhere like Hong Kong, Tel Aviv, Shanghai, and they'll actually work on a real life business problem with the team that are in country as well. They'll get that business experience. They'll also get the cross-cultural experience as well and be able to come back to their university studies with a bit of an understanding on how to use these skills that they're learning in the classroom out in the real world across a range of different cultures.
fantastic. Can you sign me up somewhere? That'd be lovely.
We are doing them online at the moment if you're interested.
One thing I'd like to sort of talk about a bit, you know, I mean, we've heard a bit about the degree, we've heard about, you know, some of the career opportunities, but I want to sort of take one step back a little bit and just maybe ask Chiara there from Wollongong, if a students, and we could be having students come in that are not Year 12 students, they might be just in Year 10 or Year 11, can you tell us what HSC courses students should really be thinking about studying if they want to go down the route of a business degree?
Yeah, of course, Trudy. Of course, before I get started, each university is different with their recommended studies and formal prerequisites. So, yeah, so it is important to have a look at each different institution that you're thinking about when you're popping your preferences in Year 12. So, but one of the most common questions we get here at Wollongong is, do I have to study business studies and do I have to study maths? I'll start with business studies. No, you don't have to study business studies to study a business or commerce related degree at university or at UOW, and I'm sure it's similar for the others. Business studies is a great subject to do in year 11 and 12. It'll introduce you to some very, very good early topics, business language as well. It looks at 4 popular areas, but it does look at marketing, for example, and it teaches you some very early introductory topics, and some of those will pop up in your first year subjects at university. So it does make you feel a little more familiarized with some of the concepts, that's for sure. And it is a great subject. It does teach you, I guess, real world experiences and things that you can use in your real life, which is great. So business studies is one of them. The other one is maths. And again, each university will be different, whether that's a formal prerequisite or recommended studies. At UOW, we very much do recommend it to students, particularly if you are interested in those more numbers-based career outcomes. So your finance and accounting, economics, business analytics, where you will be going heavily into statistics and more numbers-based subjects. So we do recommend maths. It doesn't have to be at the advanced or the highest level, but you will find if you do enjoy maths and working with numbers, you're probably more inclined to go down the finance, banking, accounting pathway anyway. And then for your other subjects, it is really about what you enjoy. There are some disciplines in business which are more on the creative side, like your marketing and public relations. So if you can do creative-based subjects at school, that's really good. But everything that you learn will come in, you will get to use in a business degree. So it is one of those advantages of a business degree that you don't have to do a lot of set prerequisites. So for example, engineering, you definitely have to have all your maths and sciences, etc. So you do have a little bit more flexibility there. Thanks, Trudy.
Thank you for that. And talking maths, it's always a good thing because lots of people ask about the maths. I'm going to cross to Rachel from Sydney. I know that there's a lot of prerequisite with maths at Sydney. For business, is it a prerequisite? And if it is, what level of maths should a student be studying?
Yeah, thanks, Trudy. And thanks, Kiara. You're absolutely right. Every university is different, and especially the business schools, right? And the School of Economics for us at the University of Sydney. So I appreciate that. Yeah, we do have a high ATAR score to get into the business school. And also there is an ATAR score for the School of Economics as well. So we really recommend students think about what they're going to study at the HSC, and earlier the better, and to really prepare for that. If they really want to come to the University of Sydney, that is something that they're going to have to consider. So in terms of the HSC, we actually require that students will complete Mathematics Advanced Band 4 or Mathematics Extension 1 or 2 Band 3. But keeping in mind, there are other pathways that students can take. And I really want to emphasize this because I was not a maths student myself. I was more creative, and I definitely went through alternative pathways to university. I also came from a disadvantaged background, so I received a scholarship. So do your research, really think about your situation because every student is different. There is always a way to do things. You've just got to do the research and potentially try and marry yourself to a mentor or someone who's already gone through the process who can give you advice. And the universities themselves have really good support mechanisms to give great advice to students. So don't ever feel shy that you can't start asking those questions early, even if you're in year 10. I think it's a good place to start. Our careers and where we want to end up are really important. So preparing, researching, and having a look at, what is my situation and what are the options already that I can see that other students have, grabbed and ran with, and what can I do? And just don't take no for an answer.
Good advice. Absolutely great advice. Gabby, Griffith University, you're in a different state. Is maths a prerequisite at your university?
No math is a prerequisite at Griffith. And like you said, every uni is different. So definitely check on the unis in Queensland. We do have different language or terminology where it comes to the math prerequisite as well. So definitely something to look up. Most of the unis, though, we will have equivalents. So you can see what our math is to the New South Wales level of math, the HSC. But no, the only prerequisite is English, which is great.
Okay, fantastic. That's really good to know. And for students who want to know about the equivalence from state to state in terms of HSC courses, they can actually go onto the UAC website and find that information. So all out there. You can see what it is that you need to know. I'm going to go to Chris at Torrens, and moving away from the prerequisites and maths and all the rest of it, which I think all students really should do anyway. But Chris, can a student experience at your uni work placement in business? And if so, what sort of placements do they do?
Yes, certainly. As part of all of our business programs, we offer a minimum 320 hours of industry placement that is required to actually complete the course. All of our lecturers are in business, as it were, so we place a high emphasis on ensuring that the graduates we produce are industry ready. We don't have any prerequisites, and indeed we removed the ATAR last year as our primary entry method. So we've taken the emphasis, I guess, from the student onto ourselves to make sure that they leave Torrens with a qualification that will suit them and serve their career path. And to do that, they need to understand what the industry requires of them when they graduate. So we expose them to that early and often through our lecturers and through placements across the country. And we obviously have a fairly significant international network. And wherever possible, there is the opportunity to undertake a placement outside of Australia to understand what a global business perspective looks like as well.
Oh, that sounds good too. I mean, I think all placements are great for students because it really gives them that a real understanding of what's happening in the workplace. You going back to the fact that you've removed the ATAR from your criteria for entry nowadays. Can you just tell me a bit about that, elaborate on what it is then that you are looking for in a student?
Yes. So before we took that step, there was obviously a lot of research and soul searching internally to understand what does the ATAR mean now. What we found was that there is a minimal difference in our completion rates and progression rates between a student that comes in with an 80 versus a student that's come in with a diploma pathway and a bucket full of passion for that as a career. So we chose to remove that as a barrier to entry for some students, and we've seen that trend of high completion rates continue regardless of their path into the course. So we do have diploma pathways for all of our business courses, primarily in the scenario that somebody comes into the business programs without necessarily knowing what the end will be. So there's the option of that 12-month short and sharp immersion into the world of business, at which point they can then determine, is this for me or not? And those specializations I mentioned, there are diploma pathways for all of them. So that's our kind of primary entry method outside of the year 12 completion.
Okay, well, thanks for that information. That is helpful. I'm going to go to Hannah from UNSW. If a student, and I know that, you know, your business degrees at pretty much all universities are in high demand, which means the entry level sometimes is really high. If a student doesn't attain an ATAR that's going to get them into the course at your university, what would be their next step? What would they need to do? Well, what kind of pathway can they take? What would your suggestion be?
Yeah, there's a few different pathways, and it is, of course, really dependent on the individual student and what the student's end goal after their study would be. So for some of our degrees, so for example, the Bachelor of Information Systems, we actually have an alternative admission scheme. And I would encourage students, if they are interested in studying information systems at university, to have a look at that scheme, because we do make offers to the Bachelor of Information Systems for students that have a lower ATAR based on their passion for information systems, some of their high school marks in information technology, and also some of their extracurricular activities. So that's one of them in information systems. Of course, commerce at UNSW is a really popular degree. In fact, it's one of our most popular across the whole university, and that does mean that our ATAR is a little bit higher, but there are plenty of options for students. So for example, if a student was interested in studying commerce as a part of a double degree, they could start their second degree at UNSW in their first year, and then they could elect to take on a commerce degree as well, provided that they have the entry marks after their first year of study. So if, for example, if a student was interested in doing commerce and science as a double degree, they could come into the science degree and then pick up commerce as they go along. Of course, students can also start in another degree and transfer across to commerce, but we do always want to make sure that students are starting in a degree that they're comfortable finishing in, for example, because they might start in the degree and find that perhaps they haven't been able to achieve the marks to get into a commerce degree. So we really would encourage students to not just pick any old degree to come across, but to pick a degree that is going to still give them the skills that they'd like to come across. Of course, our Bachelor of Economics as well, you're able to study commerce majors within that, and that is a lower ATAR than the Bachelor of Commerce. So, for example, if you are really interested in going into human resource management, you could study that as a major in the Bachelor of Economics. And you also get the added bonus of having all of that economic knowledge, which is helpful across any industry that you go into.
Fantastic, thank you. Shauna, I'm going to cross to you. We're talking double degrees. With a double degree, like, you know, some students might like to do 2 different areas of business studies. Would you call that a double degree, or what is that? Tell us about that.
Yes, well, you can do some combined degrees at Sydney Uni where you might do business and law together, or economics and law, and it's really broadens students' employment opportunities, and these have been popular offerings at the university. So our graduates tend to go to a very wide range of in terms of career opportunities, so both in the public sector and the private sector. And if students have either done some sort of double degree, or if they've chosen their majors wisely so that they're from 2 different subject areas, they can more or less achieve the same kind of outcome, and that just increases the opportunities you have for employment once you finally graduate.
Okay, well, that's interesting. So if I mean, you're talking, say, law and business or whatever, or economics, but if I wanted to do economics and marketing, is that like a double degree, or is it, is it 2 majors? Is it a major and a minor? What does that?
It can be any of those things. You can do either the Bachelor of Commerce or the Bachelor of Economics. You can do 2 majors, or a major or a minor. So you can choose. You must choose your first major from the degree that you're in. Then your second major can be either in business or commerce, or it could be if you're interested in history or a language or geography or a science. So we have students who might be interested in environmental economics, and a natural second major for them might be in environmental science. So it's possible to marry 2 completely different interests that you might have that reinforce each other, that really promote your employment opportunities once you've graduated from uni.
Yeah, it sounds interesting. However, I think I would like to do some environmental science with some business. It sounds really good, especially this day and age. Chiara, if a student goes to your uni and they, you know, they're in a single degree, but they decide, you know, they want to take on, you know, another, you know, double subject, how easy is that? What do students have to do to be able to do that?
Yeah, it is easy. Often we say that getting in is the hardest part, and even that's becoming easier and easier for students now with alternative entry schemes and things like that. But once you're in and you start your degree, as Hannah made a really good point before, we want to make sure that when you graduate with what you're passionate about and what's going to get you the best chance at a career. So once you're in, the flexibility is enormous, particularly at UOW, and I'm sure it is at all the other institutions as well. But it's very degree if you wanted to. completing your subjects each semester at the end of the year. We can organise an internal course transfer is the technical name for it, and move you to a different course if required. There's also a possibility too that if you come in, say, to a Bachelor of Business course, we have some high achieving courses, Dean Scholars that they're called here at UOW, that if you do really well in your first year and you get a distinction or a high distinction average that we call it here at university, then we can move you into a more high achieving program as well. So we often find that students maybe didn't achieve as high marks as they thought in the HSC, but once they get into a real study area that they love, they excel in that a lot better at university and get higher marks. So there's lots of different options. You then get students who start in a degree and it's completely not for them at all. In that circumstance, we will try and transfer you into the one that's best for you. And the university will try and get you what we call maximum credit, or move those subjects over to another course without wasting subjects basically, and fees ultimately. So yeah, it's very flexible once that you're in the process.
And I think that's a really big message for students. You know, they're so used to going to school and being in the same school year after year, and they don't realise that once they're at university, there is so much flexibility, because at the end of the day, this is about getting them to where they want to be, and not just finishing compulsory studies that they have to complete and to be educated, basically. I'm going to go up to Gabby at Griffith. And we've already sort of touched on this a little bit with student experience and international exchange and things like that. I assume that at Griffith, the students can get some international exchange and even some experience, with placement and things like that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Griffith takes quite a practical approach to learning business. I myself was a business student at Griffith. I thoroughly enjoyed the practical side of things. We have over 150 partners locally that we partner with to be able to do all different types of work integrated learning experiences. Especially on the Gold Coast, we have really great ties with industry. So a couple of examples, the Gold Coast Suns, our students do a lot of work with them, Surfing Queensland, Tourism Queensland, Gold Coast Airport, etc., etc. And overseas, so at the moment, obviously with COVID, it's quite difficult to be able to go over to do any exchanges. So in lieu of that, Griffith has actually instated a remote work integrated learning experience. So we have great ties with Asia, and some of our students are actually doing remote internships in countries like Hong Kong, or places like Hong Kong, countries like Japan and China, where they can actually log on and work remotely, which is fantastic. So yeah, plenty of opportunities to get some experience on your resume, because that's really what counts when you graduate and start looking for those graduate roles after uni.
Oh, that sounds great. And Rachel, at Sydney, similar type of thing?
Yeah, definitely. I think most universities have a really good strategy around international exchange, short-term mobility, so short-term field trips. In terms of the University of Sydney Business School, we have a dedicated work integrated learning hub, which I'm the proud director of. But we also see mobility in terms of short term, so across summer and winter, where students can do field trips and actually go to an international destination and work with organisations in a different cultural context, which I think is really important for the future of graduates in the business realm and in the economics realm as well, that we're not just thinking about our local context, we're also thinking about the global context. And what I really like about that in terms of that kind of strategy is working with social enterprises and working with, organisations that are really trying to make a difference. And I think the young people today, and as we can see with all the protests and the young people really getting involved in how do we make the world a better place in terms of economics, but also in terms of climate and all those really important UN strategies as well. So definitely that is something that we're very keen to see and to see more of. And COVID-19 has definitely disrupted that. But what we're now doing is we're escalating and expanding our virtual deliveries. And what that means is everyone can say the term virtual, but what do you actually mean by that? And what we mean is that students will actually do a really immersive, very deep learning using technology, not just, you know, a video or streaming, that actually will work side by side using technology to work with social enterprise experts in a chosen destination, for example, the Philippines or Southeast Asia or even America. So yeah, really exciting times.
It is really exciting.
And for
times.
Universities, yeah, definitely.
Hannah, we've been talking international exchange, but can you do placement? I mean, and universities all do placement, but can you do similar sort of experience onshore other than just your placement, or, you know, are there other opportunities other than just being out of the country?
Yeah, of course. And like everyone, I think, has touched on, that's a really important part of business education, is actually going into industry and putting what you learn into the classroom into practice. So I know at UNSW we have a really wide range of ways that students can do that. It's actually inbuilt into our new Bachelor of Commerce that all students have to have a compulsory work integrated learning experience, and whether that's a traditional internship, which I think is the most common thing and certainly what most of our year 12s will know about. But there's also a range of other opportunities, including group consulting projects. So that's where you would work in a group to consult with an organisation. I know that last term we worked with Suncorp on that, and they would have a real business project and a real business problem that you would work in a group with team leaders from the organisation to kind of work out how you would solve that problem and what solution you'd offer to the business. Another one that's really popular with our students is a social impact practicum, and that's where students partner with social impact agencies or even social startups to help them with a business problem and help them with their organisation for the duration of a term. A lot of our students actually go on to continue volunteering with that organisation or to go on and work with that organisation. So it's great to see our students giving back to that social space. Another one that is actually, I think, common across quite a few universities. One of the newer players are small-scale virtual projects or virtual internships, and that can actually be done even outside of university, where students can actually log on to a number of different providers and work directly with organisations like KPMG, Commonwealth Bank, and they work on a small short-term project as well. And all of those experiences are so important to business graduates, both to help them understand their studies as they're studying, but also when they go out and in the workforce and are looking for jobs.
Well, we really have found out such a lot of information from our panel today. It's fantastic information. It can really help students make some, you know, real decisions about, you know, what kind of degree or business degree that I'm wanting to study. So I really do thank you all for giving me this, or giving our audience this information. To end with, I'm going to go around the panel, and if you could just tell us or give us, you know, what you feel is the best information for students and their parents, if they're, you know, wanting to study business. Give us a spotlight of your university. I'm going to start with Chris from Torrens, please.
Thanks, Trudy. I guess from our perspective, and we've touched on this briefly before, the entry pathways into Torrens have been set in such a way that we can offer every student who's considering a career in business the opportunity to take that step, and to take that step in a safe environment where they will leave with a piece of paper, as it were, with a certification, regardless of how far in they get, be that a diploma, an associate degree, all the way through to the bachelor and then into a master's program. So that was really important to us, to ensure that every student is catered for within our entry requirements. The way that our courses are structured offers students the chance to get a core business knowledge and then branch out in year 2 and 3 into the areas that they're most interested in, where their passion lies, essentially, knowing that at the core of this qualification is a Bachelor of Business which will serve its purpose regardless of where you go in the world at any point in time. A Bachelor of Business will always hold up. So I guess our closing message would be that in terms of accessibility and outcomes, we have a 92% employment rate for our graduates within 9 months based on their passion, their course of study. And that is the message that we'd like students, parents, careers advisors to take away from this, is that we have an option for every kind of student, regardless of their background and academic achievement to date.
Thank you for that. Gabby, I'm going to pass on to you. So Gabby from Griffith.
Yeah, so our Bachelor of Business, as I touched on, has been actually completely remodeled in the last year. So like I said, it's a full, all-encompassing, comprehensive Bachelor of Business, under which you can choose from 20 different majors, over 20, of which you can do double majors. You can also do double degrees. And we have quite a number of unique majors underneath that here in Queensland, events management, real estate management, sport management, things like that. We're probably one of the only unis up here to offer those kinds of things. And also just the flexibility. We actually offer a foundational first year for our students. So I know myself, it was a little overwhelming to be able to know what major to choose within business and where I wanted to head. But having that first year to find my feet at university, to work out exactly what I loved and was passionate about, and then move forward with that knowledge and exactly knowing what I'm studying before I make that choice of a major was really comforting for me. And also just the practical opportunities, like I touched on earlier, being able to work with industry partners and getting that real life experience on your resume before you go out into the workforce. And it's a fabulous way to kick off your career and to find those graduate jobs.
And of course, it wouldn't be bad to study up on the Gold Coast.
The
lovely sunshine.
The sunshine, the surf, the weather. We're 10 minutes from the beach just quietly. So if you're a beach kind of person, come on up to the coast. It's beautiful.
And we go from the Gold Coast down to Wollongong, to the University of Wollongong, who's a bit closer to the beach than I think even Griffith. Kiara, over to you.
Thanks, Trudy. Before I start on what's unique to UOW, for all the parents and students who are listening, I guess the hardest part with a business degree is I can't tell you exactly what you're going to be. It's not like a nurse who's going to be a nurse, or someone who studies education and they're going to be a teacher. But that's what's exciting about a business degree. It's a degree that grows with you and as your career grows. And think outside the box. Don't think that if I'm going to be studying accounting, it's a safe career and I'm going to be doing everybody's individual tax returns come financial year. Think that you might be working for New South Wales Police Force as a forensic accountant, going through lots of different banking statements for a potential criminal that has lost millions and millions of dollars. So think outside the box with that. But what I love about Wollongong, from my own personal point of view from studying here and working here now, is that we are a regional university. We are a little bit smaller, but we're able to, I guess, help you a lot more and, organise internships for you, connect you with partners. And we've also got a really big global presence. So not just here in Wollongong, but we have great campuses in Dubai, Hong Kong, Malaysia, and connections all around the world, which all of our other universities have as well. So thanks, Trudy.
Thank you for that. Hannah, from UNSW, it's not all about spreadsheets, is it?
Certainly not all about spreadsheets. No, not at all. And Kiara, that was an excellent point about a business degree. Isn't, that you're going to study medicine and become a doctor. Studying business really does open up so many opportunities to students. And I certainly loved studying business, and I'd encourage you, if you have a passion or an interest in business, to follow as well. There's 3 reasons why UNSW is a really great university choice for students that are interested in studying business. The first, and I think the one that our parents are probably most aware of, and your careers advisor certainly will be, its fantastic reputation for academic success. So, we're a really well-ranked university globally and a really well-ranked business school. We're, ranked first in New South Wales for accounting and finance. And I guess I could rattle off rankings until until we finish the session. But what does that actually mean in terms of your studies? You'll actually be learning from academics who are leading research. So you'll be learning from those that are researching into new business practices, into the impacts of economic policies, and they'll bring those into the classroom for you, which is really valuable. The second is our close contacts in industry. I think we've all spoken about it, but it is so important for you as a business student to be out in industry and to be putting what you learn in the classroom into action in industry. And UNSW Business School is certainly very passionate about that. And the third, which is a really important part about your business education, is our connected cohort and the students that you'll meet at UNSW and the communities that you'll be a part of. We have a really rich society life here at UNSW, which enables you to meet people who have the same passions as you do and have the same interests, but to also get experience in organising events, in leading teams, in connecting with industry partners, in being a sponsorship director. So that's a really big part of student life here at UNSW and brings a lot of value to our graduates. So yeah, thanks, Trudy.
Thank you very much for that. Okay, so we've got Shauna and Rachel, both from the same university, which we're very thankful for. Who would like to go first? I don't mind. Rachel, how about we start with you?
Sure, I can go first, and then Shauna, if you want to follow. All right, yeah, totally accept that every university is different and has different key strategies, etc. But in terms of the University of Business School, I suppose what I'm really proud to be a part of is that we have a dedicated and tailored towards the student experience around work integrated learning. So we have a dedicated work integrated learning hub. What that means is that we have experts in the area of both work integrated learning, which is really another term for employability, and career development. So we have deep expertise in that area. And the other thing too is we have a dedicated career and employability office, which means that they support students both in curriculum, so as part of their degree, but also extracurricular, which is something we haven't really touched on today. There's a lot of different co-curricular and extracurriculars that students can do in terms of really developing their skills for employability and graduate destination. And that's one of the reasons that the University of Sydney is ranked #1 nationally for employability with the QS ranking, and we're also ranked 4th in the world. And we're ranked in the top 50 universities in the world too. And this is really through the hard and dedicated work of so many experts we have, and also really ensuring that students are getting value for their money. Parents will be very aware that a university degree is not cheap, and it's something that a student is probably going to be making a huge choice in terms of one of the, the first assets that they're going to be purchasing, and you want to make sure that there's deliverables at the end. So I think for me, before I hand over to Shauna, is that, the University of Sydney Business School is all about supporting students, but also ensuring that we are going to meet the future work, which is actually unknown in cases. So flexibility in degree is going to be really important, and also cross-disciplinary learning and teaching is also going to be really important for the future. Over to you, Shauna.
Right, you've talked about our rankings, but I will pick up on the cross-disciplinary thing, because that's been a very big focus in the curriculum at Sydney Uni. And I think that's something that employers are really after, is people who can work as part of a team. So very much embedded in our curriculum in economics, subjects where students will analyse real-world problems, maybe from a scientist. They might come in and talk about environmental pollution from mining, and then we'll look at that problem through an economic lens and come up with a solution for that problem. Or we might be looking at the problem of inequality and applying our economic lens to that as well. So it's a very exciting broad subject area, because I think Andrew Wansley once called economics a cheat sheet for analysing the world. We can look at everything through from crime up to climate change and analyse it using economics. So it's a very exciting school to be part of. Our graduates go on to further education in higher degrees at top universities in the States and in England and Europe. And we place people at institutions like the Reserve Bank and Treasury and very good business consultants and other places like Deloitte's and Ernst & Young. So great employment opportunities and a really fantastic subject area to become involved in.
Thank you very much for that. I think you would have to agree that our panelists have given us some great information today. I really want to thank them again for attending this webinar. I can't stress enough, when students are looking at a degree, please do your research. Here we have 5 institutions represented, but most of UAC's participating universities certainly have business degrees. So it's really about also visiting these universities, checking out what they have to offer, see if they're a good fit for you, and of course, putting your application anytime from now to, of course, be considered for an offer, which is fantastic. Once again, thanks for joining us this evening or today, whenever you're listening to our webinar. Log in to any of our other informational webinars over the next 6 months, because you may just find that you'll get some fantastic panelists such as this today and hear other information about different degrees. Thank you for that.
UAC represents many institutions across New South Wales and the ACT. The universities featured in today's webinar are a small selection of the many institutions which offer the courses discussed today. Students should research all university offerings so they can make informed decisions regarding their future study.